Welcome to another episode of Marketing Tips for Doctors. I'm your host, Dr. Barbara Hales. Today, we have with us a very lovely speaker by the name of Suzy Prudden. Suzy is an internationally acclaimed speaker, seminar leader, and New York Times best-selling author. And what I didn't know is that she is a former clinician to the President's Council on Physical Fitness and Sports. I had no idea. Fitness expert, body mind therapist, hypnotherapist, and empowerment and accountability coach. That's a lot of stuff.
I've done a lot, yes.
Always in the forefront of her field, she was a leading pioneer in the fitness industry in the 1960s and 70s, the body-mind industry in the early 80s and 90s, and is now pioneering the power of mindset and action in creating success in business. A serial entrepreneur, she has owned and operated several multi-million-dollar businesses and is now the owner and CEO, excuse me, of Itty Publishing. You've seen Suzy on Oprah, Good Morning America, and The Today Show. She's done well over 2,000 interviews on radio and television. One moment. Even hosting her own show in the 1970s on WNBC in New York City, as well as their syndicated sister networks around the country, and was the on-camera fitness reporter for The Today Show. The New York Times says, if Suzy is talking about it today, the rest of the country will be talking about it tomorrow. Welcome to the show, Suzy.
Thank you, Barbara. I'm very, very happy to be here.
Well, when you started your itty-bitty publishing business, it was so unique and out of the box. It was destined for success.
And it's been remarkable how it has grown and how it has helped coaches, doctors, health professionals, anybody who is an expert in their field literally needs an itty-bitty book, because seriously, people don't read anymore. And itty-bitty books are that. They're small. They're easy to read.
How many pages is it?
30 pages. It's 15 chapters, 2 pages each chapter. So it's a 30-page book written in numbered sentences and paragraphs, so that the reader, it's like the Cliff Notes of dummies. Dummies books are 350 pages you have to read with a yellow highlighter, and itty-bitty books are the yellow highlights.
How did you even come to think about that?
It was an accident. It was a wonderful accident. My sister, as you know, I've written a lot of books with big houses in New York and California. And my sister and I made an attempt to do a self-published book in 2006. And our coach at the time said, do a small book. So my sister, I was in the weight loss industry at the time. And I ran a business. My sister ran it with me, but she wrote the book while I was running the business. And we put it out there. We didn't know anything. And it didn't do anything. It was we spent $2,000. We spent more than that. We got the 2,000 copies to sell, etc. I think we have 1,800 left in my garage. That's how many years ago? A long time ago. And so nothing happened. We had a brilliant failure. And then in 2014, I asked her if she could check, because I thought, this is a good book. Let's do something with it. So I said, can you change the cover and make it smaller? And so she did. And she visited me that year at Christmas. She showed me the book. And instead of saying Suzy Prudden's Itty Bitty Weight Loss Book, it said, Your Amazing Itty Bitty Weight Loss Book.
Made all the difference.
Well, in the first moment, I had an ego moment. It was like, you want to take my name off? Because my name's been on everything since the 60s. She said, I don't care. And as I'm looking at this book, I said, well, actually, this is $1 million idea. And we don't have to write the books. We were in business. Yeah, it was that simple. So we were in business. 3 days later, we had our first signed author 2 weeks later, and our first published book 6 weeks later. And now we have probably 600 authors. We have 138 bestsellers. We've done 138 campaigns. And we have books coming out every few weeks. It's very exciting because of, and when people want to know, how do you get on television? How do you get on radio? How do you get newspaper articles? Write a book.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be, and it shouldn't be, a tome. People
Nobody
don't read
wants to read that.
Pardon me?
Nobody wants a tome.
They don't want to read it anymore. We're working in sound bites that are so fast. And so a book is the gateway to your business's success. You can give it to your clients, sell it to your clients, send it to the media, send it to newspapers. I mean, every single media outlet, which every business owner wants to be on, is looking for stories.
Absolutely. Do you remember who the first one is that you published?
The first book?
Yep.
Yes, it's a book on travel.
Always a good thing.
That was the first book on travel. I mean, we had books by accountants, by real estate agents, by doctors, by coaches. I mean, if you're an expert in a field, that's a book.
When you help people, because you give templates, so it's basically where they could just fill it in, which makes it even easier. So once that process is done and they now have a book, do you help them market it?
We don't do the marketing, but I have connections with a lot of people who do marketing, do PR. And, it's interesting. The problem with people doing their own marketing is they don't like to. That's it. It's not hard. I mean, I did television in New York. I did a lot of TV in New York. I became the go-to person for fitness. And I would call up a producer at Good Morning New York or AM New York and say, "Hi, this is Suzy. Are you interested in doing a story on fitness this week?" And sometimes they say yes, and sometimes they said, "Not this week, but I'll call you next week." So it's really AM San Francisco, same thing, AM Chicago. It's like they are looking for you.
And you have to put yourself out there.
You have to put yourself out there. They don't know who you are until you tell them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that simple. And people go, "Yes, but." And the other thing, it's so interesting, Barbara. People think that media is doing you a favor. No, you are doing the media a favor because they've got to fill in their time slots.
But nobody looks at it that way.
I know. So I'm telling your viewers, look at it that way. They're looking for you. If you've got one tiny thing that's unique in your practice, let's say, one tiny thing, that's a story.
Sure.
And everybody's got their own take on everything. So if you're a doctor, what is the unique thing that you give your patients?
Yeah, absolutely. I first met you on Author 101. Do you remember when that would have been?
2019 or 2018.
Really? I thought it was.
I was trying to think about it this morning. Where do I know her from? Author 101. My goodness. Yeah, that was and was that the last one that they did?
Oh, they had done many. I think I was one of the earlier summits that they had.
Oh yeah, they were going for a long, long time. I got in there at the last minute, sort of when they were just beginning to fade out. That was a great conference.
When you were just before you started out, when you were younger and you were saying, like, what am I going to do with my life? Do you ever envision, coming into this, or like,
never?
How did this happen?
Well, it was the accident that occurred when my sister handed me the book without my name on it. I've written a lot of books. I have 11 books with the big houses in New York, with the traditional houses, and I have a bunch of, well, I have one itty bitty book, and then a bunch of chapters and books and stuff. But I was the on camera I was the widget always in the fitness industry.
Right.
Now I'm producing widgets, so to speak.
Okay, so you were well known. You were on TV for physical fitness. You were the guru for um, getting your life on track.
Right.
How did you then say, you know what, that was fun, but now I'm going to become a publisher? How did that happen?
Well, it was just a good idea. And we threw it out there and it stuck. You know, I am an idea person. I come up with all kinds of ideas and I don't wait to see if they're going to happen. I put them out there and make them happen. And if it's a struggle, I don't do it. But this was easy. I put it out there and boom. I mean, we were publishing books literally 6 weeks after I remember because it was the day before Valentine's Day. And that was the day the book, so that was 6 weeks, that February 14th. We started the company literally January 1st. And because it's a good idea, people gravitated to it. And then what we do with our authors, which is so exciting, is every Tuesday night we have a call with experts that come to talk to my authors. The authors get on a Zoom call, and it's no cost. And it's really about, okay, this is what you do to market. This is what you do to get PR. This is what you do to do this. And so we're teaching, teaching, teaching. And you're right, with the actual manuscript, we don't expect you to go home and write 300 pages. We literally send you a template, which is 30 pages, and you fill it in. And we have a workshop, a 2-day workshop, write your book in a weekend. And there's one coming up in December on the 14th. And it's literally, you come at 5 o'clock, no, 9 o'clock Saturday morning to 5, 9 o'clock Sunday morning to 5. And I teach you how to write your book.
Is this virtual alone or is it in person as well?
Virtual alone right now. I will be doing in-person retreats soon. I just have a lot on my plate right now, so I have to find a date.
Tell us about this cruise. Are you doing cruises now or that's in the future?
I did the marketer's cruise for the last 2 years, and I'm planning a write your book on a cruise trip for probably 2026.
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. Tell us about that.
Well, it'll be, on a cruise, you got a bazillion things to do. And there's also, you need time for a writer, you need time to write, and you need time to get away, literally away from everything else. And so there will be writing sessions where everybody comes and brings their computer and we sit and write for 2 hours. And then you go off swimming or hot tubbing or whatever you choose to do on the cruise. And then, of course, when you go on a cruise, you have day events where you go explore whatever island, probably be in the Caribbean, whatever island, you take a day trip. And then, so usually it's 3 days of writing your book and 3 or 4 days writing your book, and then 3 days excursioning. So, and it's a write-off because you're working on a book that you're going to sell. So it's a write-off. So you're taking a tax-free vacation, writing your book, and having a good time.
Well, it sounds like loads of fun. Is your glasses, the red glasses, is that part of your branding?
Yes. Yes. This is my brand. It's red. And the glasses are definitely, people, it's so funny because people remember my glasses, which is why I wear them.
Well, you want to be remembered after all.
Absolutely. When I'm speaking, I'm wearing regular seats. I mean, they're not prescription. Here, they're prescription. And I got the idea because I started wearing these on Zoom and people kept telling me how good they look. So I thought, well, why don't I just take it to the stage?
So Sally Jesse Raphael had nothing to do with it.
Well, she didn't, but as soon as someone mentioned it, I remembered her.
No, this is great. It's great for branding. It does make you stand out and it makes you memorable for sure.
Thank you. So I do have, if anybody wants to come, I do have a 4-hour workshop. I'll find it, put it in the chat. It's at no cost if somebody wants to come, and basically it's 4 hours on Zoom where people can come and learn how to write a book. So I just have to find it now because I I
Well,
wasn't
no worries, because you could email that to me and it will wind up on the show notes. So
perfect.
for our
I will do
listeners
that.
here today, if you go to the show notes, you will get the links for all the appropriate information.
Great. That's perfect. Thank you.
At this point, I like to ask my guests to give 2 tips that people could implement right away that would be helpful for them with what you do.
So if you want to get known, this is it's going to rhyme. If you want to get known, pick up the phone. There are editors at newspapers who are looking for you. There are producers at TV shows and podcasts who are looking for you. And there are news shows that are looking for you. There's magazines that are looking for you. And if it costs you to go into the magazines, pay the cost. Because once you're in print, you're there. PR companies charge you 3,000, well, now they're more, 5,000 more a month for a hit or miss.
Yeah,
If
with
you,
no guarantee.
there's no guarantee. I was on the cover of Forbes in their online magazine. It cost me $2,000, but now I have quotes from Forbes.
And you could
Now,
always say, I've been on Forbes.
yes, as seen on or in. Send out press releases. There are agencies where you send in a press release, and for like $300, they'll send them to all the outlets. Again, there's no guarantee. You'll get 30, not necessarily big ones, but you can still say as seen on or in, Mark.
I think that's great advice.
Well, it works. Bottom line, it works. And write a book. I mean, seriously, books changed my life when I was a fitness expert in New York. They got me radio, television. They got me clients. Um, I became a celebrity because of it. So you, and I'm talking you, the, the, the audience, those you listening and watching, you have a uniqueness, but nobody knows about it unless you tell them. Be your own horn.
Absolutely.
I mean, you're important right now. But if nobody knows, they don't know to contact you. Contact them. Be top of mind. If something's going on in the news that you're affiliated with story-wise, let the networks know. Let the newspapers know. Let the podcasters know. Again, nobody knows who you are until you
Great
tell them.
advice. Yeah, that's great advice.
What else did you want to know?
Oh, well, you mentioned the 2 tips, which is
Okay.
which is what I asked you for.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So I think at this point, I can honestly say, since we're not doing books that are tomes, and we're not doing stories and shows that are tomes, so we have been able to entertain and educate our audience today. This has been another episode of Marketing Tips for Doctors. I'm your host, Dr. Barbara Hales, with Suzy Prudden. Till next time.